Mistakes are a very big part of League. Whether it's you, your teammates, or your enemies, you're all making mistakes and you all make a lot more mistakes than you would think at first glance. It doesn't matter if it's a small mistake like missing a last hit or a game-changing mistake like getting caught in your unwarded jungle at 50 minutes, it's still a mistake. And if you want to get up to a higher elo than you're currently at, you have to minimize the amount of mistakes you make in a single game of League of Legends. And one of the best and fastest ways to do this is to learn how to properly evaluate your mistakes. Now, how do you properly analyze your mistakes? Well, there's many different ways, but in my experience, the most efficient way is this thing I learned about called the 4 layers of questioning. Now, what is the main question you have about mistakes when you're playing League? Well, it's pretty simple. What small mistakes were made that led up to the big mistake that got you killed, and why did they happen? On the surface, this question can be pretty hard to answer, but when you break it down using the 4 layers of questioning, it's a lot easier for your brain to process and a lot easier for you to fix your mistakes faster. So, let's talk about what these 4 layers actually are. The first layer is robot. These questions are very basic who, what, where, when, and why questions that you would answer with very basic answers. Who died? You or your team. What killed you? Their team. Where did you die? Their jungle. When did you die? For this one, you can think of the question as asking when did you in specific die, or when did your team die as a whole. And lastly, why did you die? It's because they're stronger. With these robot questions, you have to go very explain like I'm 5 mode, and do just that. Explain to yourself what happened to you or your team as if you're explaining it to a 5-year-old who knows nothing about the game. The next layer is detective. Here you get a little bit deeper and start asking questions like what caused this to happen, or why do you think this happened, or what did you do that allowed this to happen. The answers here will vary from situation to situation, but the gist of it is to think a little bit more in depth and actually try to dissect the teamfight, gank, 1v1, or whatever else could have gotten you killed. Once you get past this robot stage of thinking, it's very helpful to look back at a replay using LOL replay and watch the games that you've lost and closely analyze each of your deaths. The reason you want to look at games that you've lost is because in games that you've won, there aren't as many mistakes that you make, so you're not being as productive as you could be by going over a game that you lost. By looking at replays, you'll find yourself being like, what the fuck was I thinking? And fixing your mistakes much more easily. Now we have the judge level of thinking and the inventor/creator/problem solver level of thinking. I like to put these two together because in my opinion they're very similar in terms of how deep the questions are and how the questions are formatted. First, let's go over some judge level questions. Here you'll be asking questions that start off with, would you agree that, or would it be better if, how do you know, etc. Those are judge level questions. Pretty thought-provoking, and they'll get you some good information depending on how you interpret them. Now, some inventor questions. These would be things starting off like, how would you, or what would you do if, what might have happened if, etc. See, they're very similar in terms of format, but very different when it comes to what they're trying to get out of you. Again, just to drive home the point, after the robot level questions, it's very helpful to go through replays of yours where you lost, which I know is hard, like why would you want to relive a game that may have pissed you off? But if you're watching a game where you won, or maybe a game where you didn't even die, there aren't as many glaring mistakes that you can look at and dissect when watching your replays. Now, before I go, I want to quickly apologize for 2 things. Number 1 is not posting as many videos as I would like to. I've been focusing a lot of my attention on streaming recently, and it's left me with a little bit less time to write, record, and edit videos. If you'd like to see more of me in between each video, then I highly recommend checking out my stream at twitch.tv/Krelian. Honestly, if you were to go there right now, you'd probably find me streaming some solo queue. The second thing I want to apologize for is the random pops while I'm talking at some points in this video. I'm currently saving up some money to purchase a new, more professional microphone so I can make better videos, but until I have the money, I'll just have to continue with what I have. Hopefully this video helped you out, and if it did, don't forget to drop me a like. If you have any feedback for me on what I did well or what I can do better, then be sure to leave me a comment. If you want to stay up to date with me, when I'm streaming, and what I'm doing, then be sure to click on the link in the description to follow me on Twitter. Last but not least, if you want to see more content from me on this channel, then be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching and go have fun playing some League.